The air in the submerged crystal chamber was thick with an otherworldly luminescence, a soft azure glow that pulsed from colossal faceted crystals embedded in the walls. Strange, ethereal currents swirled around ancient carvings depicting beings of immense stature, their faces serene, their hands holding orbs of light, and their forms intertwined with aquatic creatures of impossible beauty. Before a massive circular portal of shimmering water, held in place by an unseen force, a lone figure, clad in robes woven from luminous fibers, floated in silent contemplation. Their hands, delicate yet strong, held a single, perfectly preserved seed, radiating a faint golden light. As the currents shifted, a low, resonant hum filled the space, a sound that seemed to emanate not from the water, but from the very fabric of time itself. What final secret, whispered only by the deepest currents of the ocean, did Atlantis truly guard, and what ancient bloodline, destined to carry its wisdom, survived the cataclysmic flood? What profound truth did this enigmatic scene conceal, and what timeless legacy awaited the one who dared to remember the submerged echoes of a lost civilization? My name is Lyra, and the call to something beyond had been a persistent, almost melancholic echo within my soul since my earliest memories. It wasn't a voice in the conventional sense, no audible sound, but a deep, undeniable resonance that pulled me towards the hidden currents of the world, towards the whispers of forgotten lore, towards the shimmering edges of reality where myth and history intertwined. My journey began not in a grand temple or a bustling city, but in the quiet solitude of my own mind, in recurring dreams of a magnificent city of light, built upon concentric rings, shimmering with advanced technology and profound spiritual wisdom, a place of unparalleled beauty and harmony. These visions were always accompanied by a profound sense of loss, a deep sorrow for a paradise lost, followed by a fleeting glimpse of a small group of survivors carrying precious knowledge scattering across the globe. It was in an old, forgotten library, tucked away in the labyrinthine alleys of a bustling ancient city, its existence known only to a select few, that I stumbled upon a tattered scroll. Its pages, brittle with age and smelling of dried herbs and ancient ink, spoke of Atlantis not as a myth, but as a vibrant civilization, and of its final, devastating secret, a bloodline, chosen and prepared to carry its most sacred wisdom through the impending flood. The scroll hinted at a seed of consciousness, a genetic and spiritual inheritance that would ensure the survival of Atlantean knowledge in a new era. This library, with its scent of aged paper and forgotten wisdom, its shelves laden with scrolls that seemed to hum with ancient energy, became my first sacred setting, a silent sanctuary where the seeds of my true quest were sown, where the whispers of my visions began to take tangible form, urging me to seek the truth of this ancient, enigmatic connection. The path unveiled by these ancient scrolls and my recurring visions was not one of easy discovery, nor a linear progression, but a profound journey of introspection and arduous self-confrontation, a spiraling descent into the depths of my own being. Each symbol deciphered, each cryptic verse pondered, each meditation undertaken brought a new layer of internal resistance to the surface, challenging my preconceived notions and comfortable beliefs. There was the gnawing doubt that whispered of madness, of chasing phantoms in the vast ocean of esoteric knowledge, abandoning the solid ground of conventional thought for dangerous illusions. There was the profound fear of abandoning the comforting certainties of the known world, of severing ties with the familiar narratives of history, of stepping into an abyss of the unknown. And there was the terror of confronting revelations that might shatter my understanding of the world, leaving me adrift without an anchor, without a familiar shore. External resistances manifested subtly, not as physical threats or overt persecution, but as insidious tests of spiritual resolve. Whispers of scorn from those who clung to conventional dogma, their eyes reflecting suspicion and misunderstanding, moments of profound isolation where the world seemed to turn its back, leaving me feeling utterly alone in my pursuit. There were also encounters with enigmatic figures, members of a clandestine order, the keepers of the Atlantean flame, who spoke in riddles and parables, challenging my understanding and commitment, pushing me to look beyond the literal. I remember one such encounter vividly in a secluded coastal cave where an old woman, her face etched with ancient wisdom, her eyes holding a knowing glint like the deep ocean, simply said, "The memory of Atlantis sleeps within the waters of your own being, young one. Are you willing to dive into its depths, to face the currents of forgotten sorrow and emergent truth?" Her words resonated deeply, forcing me to confront my own inner darkness, my attachments to intellectual understanding, my ego's need for concrete proof, my fear of my own power. I learned of ancient entities, forces of stagnation and imbalance, who sought to keep humanity bound to a limited narrative, to the cycle of ignorance and fear, by obscuring the true light of Atlantean wisdom. I understood that the perilous revelations that awaited those who dared to pierce their veil were not external dangers, but internal transformations, a stripping away of all that was false, a dismantling of inherited beliefs, a burning away of all that was not authentic. The journey was a series of profound losses, the loss of my simplistic understanding of history, the loss of my fear of societal judgment, the loss of the self I had carefully constructed over a lifetime, piece by painful piece. Each loss, however, brought a deeper understanding, a clearer vision of the path ahead, a sense of shedding old skin to reveal something more authentic, more ancient, more aligned with the sacred wisdom of the lost continent. The deeper I delved, the more I felt the presence of the Atlantean elders, not as distant mythical figures, but as living, breathing archetypes, their ancient wisdom and boundless power urging me forward, even as the fear tried to hold me back, preparing me for the ultimate revelation. The climax arrived in the heart of the submerged crystal chamber, the very place where my journey had begun, a sanctuary hidden from the eyes of the uninitiated, a nexus point where the energies of Earth and cosmos converged. The air was now charged, almost electric, carrying the faint scent of ozone and ancient power, and the colossal faceted crystals intensified their glow, casting vibrant, shifting colors across the cavern, illuminating the intricate carvings with an ethereal dance. In the center of the chamber, the massive circular portal of shimmering water had grown, now forming a swirling vortex, a gateway to another dimension, another time, a direct conduit to the heart of Atlantis. Around its edge, the ancient carvings of serene beings and aquatic creatures seemed to come alive, their forms rippling with an inner light. As I floated before the portal, my heart pounding with a mixture of awe and trepidation, a profound stillness descended, a silence so deep it seemed to absorb all sound, all thought. My hands, guided by an unseen force, rose instinctively, mirroring the ancient gestures depicted on the walls. As my fingers touched the shimmering surface of the water, it parted, revealing not a landscape, but a vision of pure, incandescent light, within which coalesced the image of a vast, crystalline city, its spires reaching towards a sun that never set, its inhabitants moving with grace and profound wisdom. And within this vision I saw her, the Atlantean elder, not as a single individual, but as an archetype, a living embodiment of the continent's final secret. She held the golden seed, the very one I had seen in the initial vision, and with a gesture she released it into the cosmic currents. It was then that the truth, the profound revelation of Atlantis's final secret and the bloodline that survived the flood, flooded my consciousness, not as a concept, but as a direct, visceral experience. I saw not a single historical event, but an unbroken lineage, a sacred stream of consciousness flowing through generations, carefully guarded and passed down, waiting for this very moment. The final secret was not a hidden treasure or a lost technology, but the understanding that consciousness itself is the true ark, capable of carrying wisdom through any cataclysm. The bloodline that survived the flood was not merely genetic, but a spiritual inheritance, a chosen few who carried the seed of consciousness, the pure essence of Atlantean wisdom, compassion, and advanced understanding within their very being. They scattered across the globe, seeding new civilizations, ensuring that the light of Atlantis would never be extinguished, merely transformed. The impact was overwhelming, a wave of pure, unadulterated truth that simultaneously shattered and rebuilt my entire being, dissolving all previous limitations and expanding my consciousness beyond measure. I felt a connection to every sentient being, to every star in the vast cosmos, to the very fabric of existence, a profound sense of belonging to something infinitely vast and ancient, yet intimately present. It was a revelation that transcended words, a direct communion with the source, a memory of a time when I, too, was part of that sacred lineage, an emanation of the divine wisdom of Atlantis. Tears streamed down my face, not of sorrow, but of a profound, almost unbearable understanding, a recognition of a truth that had always resided within me, waiting to be awakened, to be remembered. The world I knew, the library, the ancient scrolls, my very identity, dissolved into this boundless truth, only to be reformed, imbued with a new, deeper purpose, a sacred mission to share this awakening. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our content. And tell us in the comments where you are watching from. We would love to know. The revelation, though profoundly illuminating and liberating, brought with it an immense sense of quietude, a solitude born of seeing beyond the veil, of perceiving the world through the eyes of Atlantean wisdom. The world I had known, with its clamor and distractions, its superficial concerns and fleeting pleasures, now seemed distant, almost translucent, its illusions starkly apparent, yet no longer binding. I chose a period of profound contemplation, retreating from the bustling world and the company of others, seeking refuge in a secluded ancient forest, a place where the wind whispered ancient secrets through the leaves of colossal trees, and the dappled sunlight offered solace, its shifting patterns a constant reminder of the dynamic truth I had witnessed. There, under the boundless canopy of the forest, with the earth as my bed and the stars as my ceiling, I entered a state of deep meditation, a profound stillness that allowed the insights to integrate, to settle into the very core of my being, transforming me from the inside out. The forest became my sanctuary, the ancient trees my teachers, their silent strength reflecting the resilience of the spirit, the changing seasons my rhythm, mirroring the cycles of life and death, of awakening and slumber. I spoke in codes, in metaphors, to the rustling leaves and the flowing streams, to the silent stones and the soaring birds, attempting to translate the ineffable into something comprehensible, even if only to myself, knowing that the full truth was beyond human language, beyond the grasp of the rational mind. The conflict within me, the struggle to reconcile the Atlantean truth of the surviving bloodline with the limitations of human perception, with the demands of earthly existence, slowly dissolved into a profound insight. The cataclysm was not an end, but a transformation, a necessary reset for consciousness to evolve. The sacred seed of Atlantean wisdom was not lost, but merely dormant, waiting for humanity to remember its own inner wisdom, its own capacity for boundless compassion and fierce truth. The silence of the forest was not empty, but full, pregnant with the wisdom of ages, a wisdom that spoke of interconnectedness, of the eternal dance between light and shadow, of the constant loving call of the divine that permeates all existence. I understood that the ancient orders had not hidden the truth out of malice or to hoard power, but out of a deep understanding of human readiness and the sacred timing of awakening. Knowing that truth when revealed prematurely, can overwhelm rather than liberate. The bloodline that survived the flood was not meant to be forced upon humanity, but to gently guide those who were ready to hear its subtle whisper, to remember their own inner Atlantean wisdom, their own capacity for boundless compassion, their own divine heritage. My time in the forest transformed me utterly. I emerged not as a recluse, forever separated from the world, but as a messenger, burdened with a truth that could either liberate or overwhelm, depending on the readiness of the recipient, on the openness of their heart and mind. I knew I could not simply speak of what I had seen, for words alone would be insufficient, easily misunderstood or dismissed. It had to be encoded, preserved for those who were ready to receive it, for those whose hearts resonated with the ancient call, with the deep yearning for truth. My final act was to transcribe my visions, my insights, my profound experiences into a series of intricate symbols and allegories, etched onto durable parchment and bound into a single, unassuming codex. This codex, filled with the gnostic revelation of Atlantis' final secret, the wisdom of the surviving bloodline, and the path to spiritual liberation through the remembrance of our true origins, I then concealed within a forgotten niche in the very submerged crystal chamber where my journey had begun, a place accessible only to those who possess the key of true understanding, a key not of metal or earthly power, but of an awakened spirit, of a heart attuned to compassion and wisdom, a mind open to the mysteries. It was a legacy, a silent invitation to future generations to embark on their own journey of remembrance, to seek out the inner light, to cultivate boundless compassion, and to heed the voice that gently, persistently calls them home from the illusions of this world. I understood that the ultimate truth could not be given, could not be taught in a conventional sense, only discovered, only experienced, and that the revelation would unfold not through a single dramatic event, but through the gradual awakening of individual souls, one by one, until the collective consciousness remembered its divine origin, its true home, and the sacred wisdom of Atlantis was fully honored once more, integrated into the tapestry of human evolution. And as the sun set over the ancient lands, casting long shadows across the forest, painting the sky with hues of violet and gold, one could almost hear the faint eternal hum of the universe, a whisper from the heart of existence itself, a symphony of wisdom and compassion, inviting all who dared to listen to remember their true, boundless origin and to follow the voice that calls them home. And if you like this story, you will definitely love the next one that's appearing on your screen. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave your like, and activate the notifications. See you in the next one.